froze until I found you right there in the crowd. You came into my life and started a fire. You made me feel like I could touch the sky. Oh, there's nothing missing now that you're my desire. Now all I have to do is to make you mine. 'Cause I know, and you know what we could be. Like a song, like a perfect melody. Baby, don't say you don't believe in me. 'Cause you know, and I know, we're onto something good. You know, and I know, we got something good. I've been waiting for the one forever.
And welcome everybody, it's Dan. How are you doing today? So we had a bit of a calamity this week whereby my main desktop PC just went completely off, completely ruined. Won't reboot. Got a ton of data on there, so and it's not just for data because it's all backed up online anyway, but it's the actual physical setup that's caused quite a few problems. So we are working off my little laptop and my desk. You should see the state of it. It's got cables everywhere. It's a complete and utter mess, quite frankly. But very interesting that it didn't work over the weekend, and just had to stick all this together just at the last minute. And I'm just double checking that we are actually live, because it doesn't seem to be that we are actually live. So let me just hit record, and then if it doesn't go out live, I can just send out the recording anyway. Welcome everybody, hope you're well today. Welcome to the podcast. And in today's session, I want to talk to you about making content, because we know that through 2024, making a lot of content has been phenomenal in terms of growing our business in the last very challenging 12 months. We've lost some customers, we've gained more customers, but I also recognise that a lot of people right now are simply struggling out there. But having said all of that, one of the things that's been the absolute game changer for us is increasing the amount of marketing that we do, specifically live streaming and specifically video marketing. And this podcast isn't just about video marketing, it's about marketing in general. Because 2025, as you're looking forward to next year, and hopefully you are looking forward to it, and you're not thinking, gosh, let's not have a dreadful year. Let's have a great year. And one of the ways in which we can do that is through an increase in marketing output. What that means is you've got to get more marketing out there, folks. There's no question that marketing is a game changer. And marketing is simply you putting your product or service or your business or yourself in front of as many eyeballs as possible. Ideally targeted people who want to buy what you sell. And one of there's only really two ways of doing that. The first way is you pay for it, and it's very, very expensive. And the second way is that you go going out and get organic traffic, such as this, live streaming, creating videos, writing long form content, etc., etc. And so actually one of the things we've been working on in the last couple of weeks is a training course to show people actually how to do that. And so if you want to get it, you can just click the link down below, and it's out there and it's available for you, and you can go and get that. And it's an early bird, and it's released in January, but there's an early bird special offer for those people who decide to buy it now, which is really cool, I think. Anyway, let's talk about dominating with video, because that's the first topic on our list, as you can see by these little arrows that we have over there. So dominating by video, one of the things that we've realized and learned, and we kind of knew this anyway because we've been doing it for quite some time, you know, the number of podcast shows that we've got, I think we're nearly 1,000 podcast shows, but we've been doing it for 8 years. You know, this is season 7, we're coming up to season 8, so or are we on season 8? Do you know what, I completely lose track, quite frankly. We've done that many, but that's the point. And without this level of content that's going out, there is no way would we have been able to not only grow the business, but we wouldn't have been able to survive in 2024, because it's been a challenging year for so many different people. And the way that we've been able to do that is through live streaming, such as this, and then taking that live stream and then pulling out the short little videos and then posting those out onto social media. which drives traffic back to the website, then people buy, and so on. But it's not only about people buying, it's about building trust. And we're going to talk about that here, because if you can begin to dominate with video, it is a game changer. And, we're going to talk a little bit further on towards the end of this podcast about people knowing you before you even walk in the room, which is a very odd feeling. But we want to talk about that when we get to that point. But the way that you get to that point is by dominating with video. And people go, oh, well, I don't like the way that I look. Well, if you don't like the way that you look, you need to change the way that you look, frankly. Get on a diet, get to the gym, have a facelift. Look, we're all ugly. That's just the way it goes. It's irrelevant, though. It's completely irrelevant, because if I'm thinking about you, in my head, I'm still picturing you looking like you, right? It makes no difference what you look like. I get it, because sometimes I feel, oh, who's going to want to listen to little old me? Quite a few people, so it turns out, because I look at the stats and I look at the downloads on the podcasts. Interestingly, we get more podcast downloads than we do visual views, so maybe I've got a face for radio. I certainly don't think I've got a voice for radio either. Anyway, dominating with video, you've absolutely got to get this right, and there's two things that you need to do. One is you need to live stream. You don't need to be dancing on TikTok and doing all that stuff. I hate all that stuff. Hate it. It's just so not me. I leave for dancing to in the kitchen when I'm cooking my food. That will do, and all that kind of thing. But we produce an awful lot of video content, and then once we've done the live streaming, we pull out the video shorts, because shorts are huge right now. And if you can pull shorts out of your video content and then schedule those to go out online as well, you deal very well with video. And we cover that in the content machine that you can click down below. Next one then is you want to be reaching as many people than ever. And we live in this amazing world where we can live stream and we can go out to hundreds of thousands of people, potentially, that can watch our stuff. And we can build relationships with people that we don't even know who they are. And it's a one-way relationship where you're feeding your content out and people are listening to it. And we know that this happens at all levels, by the way, because I get emails saying, Dan, you've not done a podcast for a while. I miss your podcast. I miss your voice. And I'm like, you're crazy. Why would you miss this voice? But they do. They listen to them all the time. It's that soothing voice. I don't think I've got a soothing voice, but people listen and they consume the content. And what it allows me to do, living 1,000 miles away from everybody else in the UK, because I live in Spain, it allows me to get my message out, get my message across, and people listen to it. And it allows me to reach a much larger proportion of the population than I would have if I just lived in Leeds and just did networking events. Think about that. You travel 45 minutes to a networking event, you spend 2 hours at a networking event trying to speak to 20 people, only speaking to 5, or, trying to speak to 50 people, but only speaking to 20. And then you drive 45 minutes back. That's, 3.5 hours? Imagine live streaming for 3.5 hours. Or imagine having 5 half-hour live streams every single morning. It's a game changer. And you should be using that to change your game. Because it's so important to get out to as many people as you can. And then one of the other things that you can do here is that you can build trust so much easier using online content. People get to know who you are, they get to know your sense of humour, they get to know your really bad dad jokes, they get to know if you're F and Jeff, if you swear a little bit, like Gary Vee. And I swear quite a lot in real life, and I swear in coaching, and so that's just who I am. I'm a working class guy from Leeds. What do you expect, But people see the authenticity. And I was thinking about this early this morning, because there's an advert keeps popping up, and a guy's got his microphone here and he's got red curtains behind him, and he's talking like he's on the Joe Rogan show, and he's not on the Joe Rogan show, and it's really, really annoying. And he loses all trust, and everyone's going, dude, you're not on Joe Rogan, why are you faking it? And he loses people because there's no authenticity there whatsoever. What you're getting here now with me is complete and utter authenticity. This is who I am. This is what I sound like. This is what I look like. These are my bad jokes. This is my sense of humour, and people like that. These are my little quirks. I have these little facial things that I do, and the th sound, and that's just who I am. And people build a relationship with me as a person based on that, not this faking kind of idea that people want to present to themselves. And so By being authentic, you're going to build a lot more trust, and trust is paramount in 2025. It's been ruined for the last 10 years through politics. Everybody lies in politics, right? It's all completely lying. And you can be different, and you can just stand out by being truthful and authentic and being your own true self. And I always say to people, the world needs more you. Whatever you is, the world needs more of that. And it's a scary thought, but the world needs more Dan as well. And the world is going to get more Dan in 2025. Okay, what's next? So, get people to know who you are before you walk in a room. We talked about this earlier. This is really weird, by the way, but it's happened quite a few times now that it's not a coincidence, you know? And you walk in a room and you can see people kind of looking like, oh, like they know who I am before walking a room. I went to an event in 2024 and I walked in the room and a lot of people knew who I was. And it was weird. And people were waiting to come up to me. It was just very weird. It was a property event. And it was just, and I'm well known for property, I guess, to some extent, you know, because of the property sourcing training. We've sold thousands of copies of that product, for example. And we've been in property for 26 years as well, up in Leeds. And so people recognise who you are, and it's very, very odd. But it's also awesome all at the same time. And if you can get yourself to being that person where people go, that's Dan, I know him. If you can get yourself to that point, the people that do that, they're either going to go, that's Dan, what a wanker, or they're going to go, that's Dan, I know him, you should speak to Dan. You're going to have one or the other. Either is fine, because if they don't like you, they're never going to waste your time and speak to you anyway. That's totally fine. They can watch you seething from the outskirts, can't they? But if they do like you, and hopefully they do, they'll come up and go, hey Dan, hey up. How's it going? And that's really nice, and that's what you want, because now you can build relationships, and at some point those people are much more likely to buy from you than somebody who just completely ignores you, who doesn't want anything to do with you, obviously. And so if you can start to build some of this, it'll work very, very well for you in terms of growing your business in 2025. Anyway, go take a look at the early bird offer. If you've got any questions, just hit me up. I will catch up with you soon. My name's Dan Latter. Have a great week. Take care.